welcome in everybody to another episode of the Brett Allen Show. And our interviews continue finally for some more conversations about the Shy on Showtime, which you just had your last episode for the season. And congratulations are in order. You got picked up again for a sixth season, which is no surprise. Thank you so much for your time today, and we're looking forward to this conversation.
Hey, great to be here. And yes, season 6 is coming.
Yeah, so it's interesting. A funny story here. You probably wouldn't remember this, but I think it was 2 years ago during the height of everything. You were doing an Instagram live with Desmond from Dexter, and you were talking about some of your creative projects that you have done and been a part of. And I jumped in mid conversation because I was excited to see you on Instagram because I had just started watching. Well, I was about a season or two behind with The Shy and caught up on it. And you were talking about, that and other projects that you worked on. But I want to talk about this last season because it was a little bit lighter than what we've gotten in the past. And I don't know if that's by choice that the writers we're going to get heavy this season, and then this season we're going to be a bit lighter. How does that work, and how much notice do you have when you come upon this? Because your character has been through a lot, to say the least.
Yeah, Jada's been through a lot. And, it's funny that you asked that about the lightness or, bring it up. Because last night we were on Instagram Live with Complex, and Lena had mentioned that the season actually did have a feel to it. Like her vision for this season was the guiding light. Yeah. So when she said that, it was like, oh, wow, because, myself and Rolando Boyce, who plays Darnell, we had thought of ourselves as like Angie and Jesse from All My Children, because we had that whole feel with the wedding and all of that. So it was funny that she said that last night, because we did not know that while we were, filming it. We have sometimes an idea of what's going to come up. Like last season, I knew about the cancer storyline because, there's a lot that goes into that kind of storyline. With what happened with, myself and Darnell, myself and Rolando this season, it was a different story. It was an easier thing to play out. And, this season we didn't have any idea what was going to happen. So, we just went into it.
Yeah, we've had other cast members on in the past. We've had Hannah Hall was on, Jada was on as well. And again, we've been hoping to get you on for a while, but I know you're very busy because when you're not filming, you're doing other things. You're creating your own projects, hence your, social handles, the creator, because you're always doing something. And you have to, right? I mean, and we can transition with that because really in your industry, I mean, unless you're very fortunate and blessed like yourself to be a series regular and to have consistent work, and maybe not knowing what your storyline is going to be, you're also creating your own content too, and just putting things out there. Would you say that there's definitely a case to be made as a creator, whether you're in a position like yourself or you're just kind of starting out, that there's really no excuse, so to speak? That's kind of a rough way to say it, but to just create your own stuff and while you're waiting for the big stuff to come in?
Yeah, that's not an easy thing to just do. Right. Because, I mean, you could have, because first off, not every actor or person in this industry wants to create stuff. Not every actor can create content. I like to write. I am a good writer. I'm a very good writer. And I also have a vision as far as like directing. So I had to find that out along the way. I didn't know that at first. I've always loved writing, but I never thought of writing for myself or for others until it got down to, working with Sundance a lot and helping first time directors go through their first projects a lot and seeing that I've done this for a number of years already. I can do this too, and doing it. What happens so many times is you don't have support as an actor, so you don't have people helping you through it. People in this business really do have it bad with seeing one thing only and understanding one thing only when they see you, and you do something well, as if you can't do other things well. So it's always a fight, and something that I feel a lot of us, do, because these, projects that you see us in many times are not our own. So there's somebody else's voice. They're not our voice.
When you have the opportunity to create your own things, is it, I don't want to say more enjoyable, because this show that you're on is just amazing. Like, it's so fantastic
Yeah,
from
that's
top to
enjoyable
bottom.
too.
Yeah. But when you get the opportunity to create your own projects, do you maybe feel a little bit more freedom in, as far as like what you can say and you can do, so people don't, like, necessarily, I don't want to say typecast, but maybe pigeonhole you into one particular thing, if that makes sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes sense what you're saying, because yeah, sometimes, people can get stuck in one vision because they've done it well and people only kind of understand them in that one way. But I would say, in the case of what I make for myself, I feel I am bringing out parts of me and stories that I feel people don't see me in, So, I feel like if anybody knows me best in my talents and what I can do is me. So that's what I do. I bring out the best in me. And I feel also other actors that I know personally that I write things for, and to get that out of them, that maybe they don't always get to, play these kinds of characters.
I love that. And I love your honesty too. As a storyteller, which I know, I mean, some people don't like that term, but really you tell stories. You're an actor. You're clearly very talented, and you have created this character on the Shy for, 5 seasons now, going on 6. And we've just really watched your this person that you've created. It's almost like believable to a point, like if somebody who didn't know who
I
you
hope
were,
she's believable.
and we see you on the street, well, that's just a testament to your talent. But when we see you on the street, do people sometimes blur lines a little bit and go, "Oh, are you okay?" That sort of thing. Obviously, I've
Yeah,
heard that happen before with other actors. That's why I asked.
no, it does. Like, it's funny because, I was just talking with a castmate about this, and it wasn't about The Shy, but it was about, Antoine Fisher, which was
Yeah.
like 20 years ago. And, people posting like, I hate what you did to Antoine. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Do you know me? You know, what did I do to Antoine? Antoine is actually a friend of mine. I'm sorry, I did not molest him. A character did,
Yeah.
and that was 20 years ago. So, do you watch The Shy? It's like that's what you want to reply to people, sort of like, where do people come up with these things? But just getting back on The Shy, it's like, yeah, they do see you as your character many times, and it's in this case, it's like with Jada and Darnell's wedding. I thought it was so kind of beautiful and fun that people, they're like, "Oh, we love y'all together," and da da da. It's like, yeah, that's great. I love that they do, see me as Jada, because Jada to me is every woman in every neighborhood that
Yeah.
we know. She is that Black woman that holds everything down all the time. And in this case, we get to see her actually be happy for a
Yeah.
change and something come through for her. So, in that case, being a single Black woman, that's beautiful to see. So, yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, and it's so good to see things work out for her, because
Yeah.
oftentimes they don't. And that I think that as far as like, you know, uh series that are on television, uh, I feel like this is probably the most honest and real. And as a sidebar, it's oftentimes really fun to see you and other characters pop up on other Chicago shows like Chicago PD, Chicago Fire. I don't remember the actor's name, but he was on a really long stretch of Chicago PD. Um,
Oh, was that
doing
Curtis?
yeah, Curtis.
Yeah.
It's
Curtis.
just fun. It's just fun to see you guys kind of commingle on different shows, even though you're playing different characters. And that's just for
Yeah.
a content nerd like myself. When I go, oh hey, or somebody from Shameless pops up on, this or that show, and I think it's just cool. Um, I had the privilege of
I
living
think
in.
Yolanda's going to be on. He's on the South Side this season,
Oh,
so
that's great.
we'll tell us that. But good for him.
Well, yeah, I think that's very cool. A couple more questions here. So, again, on the subject of this, we've seen your character evolve. At some point, do you have a say as an actor, kind of like input on your character storyline, or is it all pretty much just decided by
No,
Lena?
I
I don't
mean,
even know how much involvement she has at this point. After a show, I know a show can go on for a while, and pretty soon the writers just kind of manage everything and the
mhm.
showrunners.
Well, I mean, Lena and the writers come up with what we do. I've not ever had any say in what we do. I mean, I might help with how Jada is shaped as a character, how she comes across because she's coming through me, but I have nothing to do with the writing of this show.
No, no, I think it's great. I mean, it just, again, if there was ever a show that, I mean, is a love letter to love, and just so many different things, you know what I'm saying? It's so
Yeah,
good.
Black Love was it. And
Yeah, that's really, even from the very start, it's
yeah.
just been that way. And it's no surprise that you got picked up for another season, and hopefully this, outlast Grey's Anatomy at this point. Um,
Wow.
so
Yeah.
I mean, it's really good. So one last question for you, and so you've done so many great projects. I know you have other things coming up. I'm not sure which ones we can mention,
Well, I got
but
American Gigolo that starts
yeah,
tomorrow.
okay. So we
Tomorrow.
can't talk about that. So that's huge.
Yeah.
What interested you in becoming a storyteller or an actor? Like, where did that spark begin for you?
It was not something that I set out to do. I think it was always there, but I didn't realize it. I mean, I used
Okay.
to tell stories with painting. I still do, and writing, but at this point, I know how to get it out through character, through story, as far as directing and writing, and it's another outlet. I mean, literally, that's what all of this is. All of my creations are outlets. And for me to be in this business as a Black woman, I tell stories for us
Yeah.
because I feel there's so many ways that we see white women as far as characters,
Sure.
storytellers. You see every kind of white character that there is, and for Black women, there still is not every kind of every version of us out there, and that needs to change.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think we've just barely like wiped the fog off the mirror as far
I
as
do
like,
too, just barely.
and
And
I say that in all honesty, as somebody who consumes a lot of content, talks to a lot of amazing people. Yeah, I mean, it's, when I hear this term groundbreaking for whatever the case might be, it's such a trite term, I feel like, because that should not be the case. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it should
and
not be the case
and
because,
Hollywood can be kind of jacked up in that way, if I'm being
well,
frank.
it is. I mean, it is because we live these lives. We have been here living these lives, doing
Yeah.
all kinds of things. Yet, when you look at film and television, you still see the same kinds of characters. They might have a different polish on them, or they might take a story that's considered a white story and put a black face on it, or put it within a black family or whatever. But it's still not us in our full like the full versions of
Sure.
us. So, that it still needs to be worked out.
Yeah, well, Netflix just released a trailer for a new show, The Diary of Anne Frank. And I don't know if you've seen or heard it, but it's based on
So is
a
Anne Frank black now? I mean,
yeah, yeah, it
is
is.
she?
Yeah, she is. It's an all black family. And I don't know, I only just saw a little bit, so I don't know exactly how, but they've basically taken that entire story and transplanted it into something totally different. And everybody is just like excited beyond words. I would Google it if you have time. It looks very interesting. I don't know what to expect. We got a press release for it today, and so we're like, okay, we're on board to check it out. Because again, as I mentioned here, that whole term of, well, groundbreaking. This is groundbreaking. It's like, okay, sure, but we've been these types of stories that you're telling, to wrap it up with The Shy, is like this has been happening for a very long time, and it just happens
They
to
just have to
be.
green light more of these groundbreaking stories.
Yeah, so that term doesn't become so
Yeah.
groundbreaking, no pun intended. Well, everybody, please check out The Shy season 5. If you haven't already, it's available to stream on Showtime. Season 6 is coming soon.
Yeah, if you can
Um,
stream 1 through 5, and we're coming with 6.
and American Gigolo, if you see Yolanda on there, don't panic. She's not gone from The Shy. She does have other things going on at the moment, and plus all the amazing independent films and short films that you've produced as well. It's been a true honor, and I thank you for your time for this conversation today. I really do.
No, thanks, Brett. Thanks for having me.